Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is May 2nd, 2017. So, in our house, we don't watch television, all right? Our mother, when she has time to watch things, this is what's on.
In the background.
Now, granted, this guy is an atheist, and he has some off beliefs. And this is where, okay, here we go with the Bernie people, right? We are proof in the pudding that we totally can watch things that we don't agree with. Because this guy... We don't agree with a lot of the stuff that he says, but he's got a lot of stuff that's so
anti-deep state. He knows so much more than I do.
Yes.
I listen to this guy. Michelle and I are like, dude, I don't ever want to be interviewed on his. He knows everything. He knows stuff.
So intelligent.
And
the Kennedy shooting, like he knows it all.
All about napalm and anything in North Korea, anything he just knows a lot of stuff. He doesn't like to talk about Christians. He doesn't like to talk about Christianity, and that's cool for me.
Exactly.
Because I like the information, and because I agree more with him, like 89-90% of
right.
and so we listen to him. So maybe you guys can. Oh, really? So they're not so close-minded after all? They're not really. But anyways, Mom was listening to Mike Rivero. He was really spot on so many things. He knows about the dollar. He knows he can talk to you about Bitcoin. He can tell you when everything's going to collapse. It's fantastic. He knows about chemtrails. He just
has this little radio program. It's not little. It's kind of big. In Hawaii.
Yeah.
And he's got these callers that call in, and he sits in his little office, and he wears his headset, and he's super awesome.
And yeah, it's fantastic. He does it for like 2.5 hours or whatever. But anyways, my mom pointed this section out. She's like, play this for your viewers. It's about how he would enjoy going back to just living off the land, which he did and his family did. It's really important. I want you to listen to. But he starts it out with this article, and I want to show you the article that he talks about.
Good. Yes.
He said the article in the New York Post that says more young people are being hospitalized for strokes.
But no, Leah, because there is nothing wrong with the way that our society functions. That has nothing to do with the correlation. I would venture to say that this just has to do, it's an enigma, it's a blip on the scale.
The biggest surge in stroke is for adults from 35 to 44. It's really scary. It's something we got to keep our eyes on. There are 3 of the 5 major risks for stroke are high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity, and smoking. And I know a lot of people will say, "Oh my gosh, yeah, you need to do this. Yeah, you need to do that." Put all of your preconceived ideas to the side right now. And I'm going to...
Because you can eat as healthy as you think that you're eating. These people, you can be a runner. You can eat, your lean cuisines, and you can eat your organic vegetables and all this stuff, but you're still getting all of these chemicals. It's in the water. It's everywhere.
And they, like Mike's about to say, they put chemicals in the food
that make you want more of the bad things.
Exactly, and there's less nutrients in the food, so you crave more food. That was one of the main problems with Michelle Obama's stupid
she wanted the milk had to be skim milk. Well, let me tell you something, Michelle Obama. It is far more healthy for a child to eat raw, organic, pasture-fed milk that is unpasteurized, unhomogenized, that is totally full of the cream to the crop. Full-fledged fat milk.
So healthy.
That is what kids need.
Real organic.
Do you have any
butter
idea
and things like that? If you want to go healthy, it's going to be
pasteurized and homogenized milk throws free radicals throughout the body like nobody's business, and that's what you want to feed the American public and the children.
No, Big Dairy does, and that's subsidized for like $1
And why
a
does
gallon.
Big Dairy want to push skim milk, Leah?
So that they can make cheese and ice cream and everything else.
So they can literally steal from you the actual fat so that they can use it in other products. It's a big scam. And so why is it that raw, unpasteurized, unhomogenized milk is illegal, Leah?
Well,
because Big Dairy wants to make money. Big Dairy doesn't want the small farmer to be able to do to sell milk to the other people because they want people.
They have raw milk vending machines in Europe and New Zealand and things like that.
All right, so on with
Rivero than there were in 2003. And every age group studied is showing an increase
in strokes.
Now, one of the causes, of course, is the obesity epidemic. And we know the obesity epidemic is not because of our lifestyle choices. It's because they're actually putting chemicals in the food that make you want to eat more.
Yes.
So that you will buy more and they will make more money.
Yes.
Monosodium glutamate. It's sold as a flavor enhancer. It's also a migraine trigger, which is why I have to avoid it.
And why so many people?
But what it actually does is it scrambles the signal to the brain that says, I have eaten enough.
Yes!
So people will go on eating and eating even though they're actually full. Then you have aspartame, which used to be a biological weapon and is now an artificial sweetener.
Pause the thing. I'm sorry, I know. We talked about the whole Diet Coke thing the other day. It used to be a, what did he just say, Leah?
A biological weapon.
It used to be a biological weapon! And now they're using it so that they can say that you are now having like a sugar-free diet, whatever.
They're trying to kill
They're
us.
trying to kill you. And you know what else? It's addictive. So they've just given you an addictive biological weapon in the form of fake sugar.
As a diet aid, it doesn't actually work because the consumption of aspartame makes your body crave real carbohydrates.
Thank you.
And this is one of the reasons why supermarkets will often have these little bundling deals where there's a liter of diet soda full of aspartame and it's bundled with big bags of corn chips or potato chips. Because they know you're going to drink the soda and your body's going to say, I need a carbohydrate, you're going to eat those chips. And the net result is you gain weight. America's obesity epidemic is an artifact of the way food is processed, manufactured, and sold in this country. And that's why we have these issues. And there are other chemicals as well. The growth hormones that are pumped into poultry and cattle, and any of these hormones that are not fully metabolized at the time the animal is being harvested will be ingested by the customer. And your body will respond to the growth hormone the same way the cattle and the chickens did. You will grow. And it really is very tragic to realize that you're living under a government and a corporate culture that is all about getting more money out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't care if what they're selling you is actually good for you or not.
Right. Actually, they do. They want it to be bad for you.
We're seeing lobbying efforts now where they want to cut back on what ingredients they're required to put on the labels. Right now, ingredients below a certain percentage of the total volume of the food product do not have to be listed. We don't know what's lurking in there. Food manufacturers know that people are trying to avoid monosodium glutamate, and so they use euphemisms for it.
Yes, they do this.
There's 30 or 40 different euphemisms, like hydrolyzed yeast protein or yeast extract. And it all means additional added synthetic monosodium glutamate.
The same with
because they still want you to eat it and then eat more and buy more. And they don't want you to be able to say, oh, I can't eat, I shouldn't eat this, it's got MSG in it. Same thing with the fight against GMO labeling. They want to sell you what they want to sell you, and they don't think you should have the right to know what it is you're being fed, and to have a choice to say, no, I do not choose to eat that.
Right.
In a way, you're being treated like just more livestock, where the government will decide what you're going to eat.
Yep. Or what you're allowed to eat.
Or not eat.
They're doing a really good job of that.
What medicines you must take, what medicines you're not allowed to take.
Doing a good job on that too, aren't they?
Look at Michelle Obama's school lunches.
Here we come.
They were absolutely appalling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Trump says he's going to shut that down, and a lot of schools have already kicked the program out and said it's not working. Because the kids were just throwing that stuff in the trash. And then they were spending the rest of the day hungry.
Because that's healthy. It helps developing brain.
We have lost so many freedoms, and right now I envy people who are still able to live on a farm, a family farm.
Yes.
Because they're the only ones who are absolutely certain of what they're eating for dinner.
Okay, so insert here. Y'all saw our ad that we put out where we're selling our pigs, because we're not going to do an ad placement, but we do need to sell our pigs. So if you want to come to Ohio and get some piglets, we've got them for you. Okay, but we know what's in our pork. We know what's in our chicken. We raise our own chickens. And we get our beef from a local farmer that we know. so we know what's in our beef. None of these hormones are in our beef, chicken, or pork. And so it is a very comforting feeling to know that.
We get raw milk from an Amish farmer. Not all of our food is always organic. I just had to tell you, we are on a little over an acre and we do a lot. With that, we can, a lot of our vegetables are canned, a lot of our fruit is canned, but it's
No,
really...
you can't, especially produce, as a matter of fact, especially during winter. We have a really hard time making it through. So we do go to the grocery store. We go to the grocery store a lot. Actually, we always say the spirit of the law brings life, the letter of the law kills.
Right.
We do everything that we can. But my point is, we do personally know what's in our meat, and you can too.
You can too? You can, and that's the point, you can.
Where it came from out back. That was the way I lived when I was a kid, living in New Hampshire. Going to have dinner, we'd walk out back, get all the veggies that we wanted, go out to the chicken coop, grab the eggs. The meat that we were eating came from cattle that we had raised ourselves.
Well done.
That's how it all worked. And it was healthy food. It was good, safe, natural, organic, healthy food. And we're seeing this attempt to end that self-sufficiency for food. To once again force you to be dependent on some corporate supply chain. And the danger with that is, in addition to the threats to your health, is that if we are all forced to be dependent on various corporate supply chains for our food, for our water, for our electricity, for whatever, and there is an actual war that breaks on out, or the economy implodes and that supply chain breaks down, there are going to be a lot of very hungry, desperate people in the streets of America.
Yep.
Who don't have that option of just going on out to the backyard and grabbing some food.
I'll tell you what, guys. You can't just put a seed in the ground. It ain't like Jack and the Beanstalk.
We have been gardening for heavily since 2004.
Yes.
And
before that, we gardened on our balcony.
And I tell you that the first 3 years were very hard because when the squash bugs come after your squash,
and the deer come right when your corn is sprouting, and then the
powdery mildew comes on your tomatoes, and the wilt, okay, and the rust comes on your grapes. When all of these things happen and you don't have an answer other than going to the store and buying 7, which is not going to be available, you need to know the old tools of the trade, okay? And that only comes through experience. So why do Leah and I encourage you guys to get started now? So that you can learn and make your mistakes now before it's important.
You can't, I really think people have a disconnect between a tomato seed and a tomato.
It looks so simple.
You can't put a tomato seed in the microwave for 10 minutes and out comes this great big tomato plant with tomatoes on it. It takes a tremendous amount of dedication and patience. It is definitely rewarded, but children don't understand that. Their food comes from fast food. It's already there. You go to the grocery store, it's already there, but you don't recognize that you're not grateful for your food. That's what grace was. I gotta tell you, when we sit down in the summer, right, and we are pulling in food from our chickens, eggs from our chickens, and our own meat, and, wheat that we made into bread, and our vegetables, and we look down at that meal.
And you're so grateful.
Thank you, God. Comes over everybody. Or thank you, and even if you're not religious, you're thanking something greater than yourself. Because you know that you couldn't have done that because it had to take sun, it had to take rain, it had to take soil, and all these things had to work together in order to, and because sometimes that chain breaks with a drought or too much rain or too much sun.
Or a disease or a pest or whatever.
And so I'm going to finish this. He says a couple more things here. But the point is a spirit and a thankfulness. The Puritans and the Pilgrims who came here were incredibly grateful because whether there is a God or not, He helped them. Okay? The God in their mind, they would pray, they would work hard, they would get their hands dirty.
And we also believe that this lifestyle is actually the best lifestyle. Mankind is healthiest. There's very little depression because the chemicals are not imbalanced. Mankind is healthiest when he's living a lifestyle like this. Okay,
Right.
So but that aside, If that's not motivation enough for you, stuff is coming down the line and you got to be ready. We have so many friends, and you know who you are because you're watching right now. Tell us when the poop hits, we'll be fine. When the poop hits the fan, we're coming to your house. We live out on Daggum Acre, and we already got 5 people in this house. You ain't coming to our house. I love you, but you ain't coming. All right? I'll give you lessons and I'll give you tips, but you ain't coming. I ain't sharing my chickens. I ain't sharing my eggs. I ain't sharing my stuff. We have guns. All right? This is going to be 4. We have dogs, too. You ain't coming here because we told you first you needed to get ready. All right? Now, we will help those that the Lord has us to help. Don't get me wrong. We are very kind-hearted people. But my point is, when we are telling you guys, get ready, get ready,
Don't
get ready.
worry, we'll just come to your house.
There's barely, we can't, right now, as things are, we work our heinies off all the time. We don't have enough to live on ourselves, for food-wise. When the poop hits the fan, even we will be hungry.
Right.
Okay? So, because you won't have refrigeration, and there's just so many other aspects to it. But I'm telling you guys, you need to get ready now. Let's say, oh, I don't even believe that that's ever going to come. Well, that's fine. But if you're wrong...
And by the way, if you have a house that has a sizable backyard, you should be getting into growing your own food back there.
Do it. Everybody.
And I know a lot of towns are actually passing zoning laws saying that you are not allowed to grow food on your own property in your backyard.
Okay, hang on, I'm sorry, I hate to keep interrupting this guy.
A lot of places are saying you can't grow food in your front yard.
Okay, so we read Glenn Beck's, I'm not a fan of Glenn Beck, I just gotta be honest, I don't like the dude. But I read his book, Agenda 21. Didn't even really like the book. However, it was very accurate in the sense of it gives you a bird's eye view into what would happen if they were controlling everything. So you guys think that these zoning laws are being passed by people who don't really want to hear the noise of chickens, or they don't want to see, like he's going to talk about an ear of corn in a yard. That's not it. Those people hardly exist. Okay, not enough to pass legislation. There is an agenda to keep you from being independent from the system. This is why in several states it's illegal to catch your own rainwater, because they want, when this thing comes down the line, they want you to have to come and submit to them.
Well, they also want mass depopulation as well.
Exactly.
It's unsightly. There's nothing unsightly about an ear of corn.
Thank you.
There's nothing unsightly about summer squash. It's just a way of keeping you imprisoned by the corporatocracy.
Yep. And money.
And that's what it is on the scale happening right now. Yes, it's in the future, and yes, it's something like that. But
right now, it's about money.
It's all about, if you're growing your own vegetables, you guys understand, our economy doesn't run the way a healthy economy runs. We are constantly having to buy things in order to keep things going. You don't understand. Every time, the economy is not how you gauge, the economy that they talk about is not how you gauge the health of a nation, because it used to be that my grandparents, they saved. They bought things with cash. We read over this. And they keep saying over and over again, oh, nobody's saving. You need to save more. But you have to buy more to keep the economy going. You need to save. You need to buy. You need to eat. You need to not eat. You need to exercise. You need to go to the gym. You need to stop eating. You need to eat. You need to go to the restaurant. You need to buy this food. Go to McDonald's. And it goes over and over and over. And even our government, even the newspaper talks about, like, oh, the latest offerings from Burger King and Taco Bell, because they have to keep this economy running, because those are like the base level jobs. If those jobs go away,
then you're going to have a bunch of people out of work. I have to tell you, and I love all of you all right? But when I go into a fast food restaurant, and I know this is going to be profiling, but whatever. When I see an adult male in a position, even if it's management, at a fast food restaurant, my heart breaks.
Yeah.
Because I believe that every man should be earning a living wage in a job that they can be proud of, and not just a job, but something that, a calling. And so every man has a calling, and Burger King ain't it.
And here's the thing.
For any man.
And the difference
or woman.
is the
shut down Burger King. Sorry.
This is here's the thing, you guys, you don't understand. Everybody wants to raise the minimum wage. And what that does is it just tries to put a Band-Aid on a bleeding flesh wound.
Yeah.
Okay? As soon as you raise that minimum wage, you're not making any sense because the value hasn't gone up. People only want to pay a certain amount, and the corporate, everybody wants to talk about labor, and they want to be right here, and they want to unionize, they want to do this, they want to do that. If you're your own boss, you pick your own hours, you pick your own wage. Okay, and if we just got to the place where it's, dude, start your own restaurant. You know why you can't start your own restaurant? Because there's too many regulations. You know what? There's a guy who has a barbecue pit at the end of the road, right? And he has his barbecue pit, and every day he's out there and he just barbecues up and he's serving up barbecue. I guarantee you he's pulling in more than the guy making $7.50, $8.50 at Burger King, right? But they need these tiny little jobs. They want people, like Rockefeller said, I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. They want you to they want a certain class of people to have a certain class of skills. They want people just to weld. They want them to weld. They don't want welders to be
creative and have their own clientele.
Exactly. The young man we brought into our home, he was an heroin addict. He was a welder, and he made a lot of money, but he was losing his mind because he did this thing. He worked on the same machine for 12 hours a day. It's all about money. I gotta make money. I gotta make money. And then he came, he got set free from heroin, and he started, oh my gosh, do you know what I want to be? I want to be a blacksmith. And he has this incredible talent.
And he's creative.
So we're all about the individual, where you have these labor workers and it's labor, and the individual needs more money.
No, Michelle, but we have to have the little workers, or we're not going to have the things that we have in life, like, big screen TVs and cameras and technology. Well, guess what? I will give up any technology, any comfort that I have in life for a single person to have a calling and to have a living wage and have a job that fulfills them from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep. I don't want anybody to be on an assembly line.
Right.
Ever.
Right. If you're making cars, I want you to make the cars like they do on TV, where they custom
from scratch. Absolutely.
All right. If you're making and you're an inventor, then I want you to invent. I want you. If you're a builder, I want you to build. I don't want you to be the guy who just hangs drywall all day long.
We are about human dignity, because when you're a drywall hanger, and don't get me wrong, when you guys, okay, let's say you're your own drywall hanger, that's fine. Right. Okay? But when you have to be and make this minimum wage and be underneath of a giant corporatism, that's what we are against. And we're about the individual being their own boss.
Getting rid of the upper man. Everybody wants to get rid of the middleman. We want to get rid of the upper man.
But we don't want to get rid of the upper man by legislating him out. We want to get rid of the upper man by society only buying and making that change themselves. That's why we always say support your local farmer, support your local craftsman. Okay? I don't care how long it takes you to find the Joe Schmo handyman that works for himself rather than calling Roto-Rooter.
And you know what? And you also have to support the people who are challenging laws on the books.
Yeah.
So anyways, we don't need more laws. We need less laws so that people who want to do things, I mean, you guys I don't know if you realize how many laws are on the books that make it so that a man can't even just work in his
backyard or basement
and build some chairs. I mean, we have a law called 51921, which allows us to homestead right here, but there's a certain provision in the law. You can cut down the wood on your own property and you can sell the wood. However, if your township says that you're not allowed to have a wood shop in your home under this particular law in Ohio, then you can cut down the wood, you can sell the wood, but you can't make stuff from the wood and then sell it. Illegal. Still, if your township says it's legal, in our township, we went up there one time and the guy was he was laughing about getting it on the books to outlaw home businesses. And Sydney's very upset about this. So we better.
Yes, we should wrap it up. Sydney's upset. We're upset. This wraps up what Mike Rivero was saying as well. You guys get the point. You feel our passion on this.
Sydney says, whoop.
So take it and run with it. How do we make these changes? Because everybody wants to start something huge and start a wave movement and get all these people on the bandwagon. That's fine. Share the videos. Yeah. But really, talking about stuff doesn't do nearly half as much as actually practicing it.
Exactly.
Supporting your local farmers, go to the farmer's market, grow your own plants, make sure your meat is coming from a local farmer, that sort of thing. Or raising your own chickens. It's very simple to get a little chicken tractor.
Buy your soap from Handmade Soap, people.
Yeah, homemade everything. All your products. You don't need to spend $800 on products at the store.
Go on Etsy. support people like that. Okay,
exactly.
so.
All right. This is Lee Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it is not just a conspiracy theory. If it's a truth, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you guys. God loves you, and God bless.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid, but you called my name.